Well, dear friends, we are on plate number 2. We are doing it. Yes, that is a very important plate. It's actually building relationship and getting to know and adding a big list of investors. Do you remember probably listening to me when I said, we need the family, friends, all the people that you can really, they trust you. They know you and they know how hard you work and what kind of accomplishments you have had before. So the first deal, it's a great idea to get your family involved, your friends involved, close friends to do the syndication. Even though in my case, you might have, seen me on, podcast and all that. About 12 years back, I didn't really purposely involve my family, but now I highly, highly recommend that. That's a great way to really do it. And then let's talk about, remember, people when they give you money, you're not really asking for any money at all. You're putting together a great killer deal together so that they buy into it. They would like to invest into it. If you have a great information packet for the investors, you put that together with your syndication attorney, with the legal documents, because a lot of investors are really worried about the Ponzi scheme. There are so many things happen in our life. Some people might have lost their money or they lost something, they bought in stock market. Of course, they would have gained or lost, but maybe in real estate deals, somebody has it. So if they say no to you, don't worry about it. Just okay, because you want to make sure that you leave them with great information, and maybe later on as they see your success, they will come back to you. It has definitely happened in my case, and it will happen in your case. But remember, the investors list is so important. Now, where to find them? See, they are all around you. I say that, right? So the very first influence circle, I call it, number 1, is your close relatives and friends that you work with. They know you, they know, and they would love to trust you with their money. If it's 50,000 or 100,000, things like that. So first circle of influence is really great. And remember to download that. If you haven't done so, download that worksheet we talked about, because you want to start keeping all these investors, their names, their phone numbers, their email address, and everything in the. Also log in on the Excel worksheet when you talk to them. What did you talk about it? Comments. Because the SEC ruling is quite strict, and you want to make sure that you log all these conversations that you're doing, so that you're vetting the investors, you're making sure that you're letting them know what you do, inform them, give them educational piece, and then when you have a deal later on, you can go back to them, hey, this is what looks great. Please show it to your, the CPA and your attorneys, or, your friends or pastor. I try to do that, because the more transparent you are with the investors, the more they know that you are genuine in what you're trying to do, they will cling to you. And I remember our list went from 0 to 1 to 130 investors now, where I can raise anywhere from $6 to $10 million in just a couple of days. So it will happen for you if you stick by and really practice the things that I teach you. So in investors, you definitely want to keep them informed. You want to send them some positive articles of the growth of the market in the area that you are really looking into underwriting the deals, and you will purchase it, because they need to be softened up, I call it. They need to not just abruptly decide whether I want to go and buy this property with you or invest in you, but slowly and slowly you're giving them a lot more value and teaching them and keeping them abreast through communications that this is what you're doing. Maybe even send pictures of some of the properties you are looking into, not that you have purchased it yet, but the kind of quality of things you are looking into, and even start a newsletter. I really mention that because it's so great. There are a lot of articles that you come across, and nobody really has the time to read through all the articles. So you could have a newsletter, just one page, but have your picture on it, newsletter, give a name to it, and then say, this is for my investors to get some information. And you can put hyperlinks right in the newsletter. It's a digital newsletter, colorful newsletter, and maybe some cartoon in it, some humors, but something about multifamily to teach them, and some articles that they can click on it. This way they will really like to see you, correspond with the investors and make them feel special. Of course, sending some gifts, having some breakfast, or even doing the FaceTime. See, out of 130 investors, I have only met with 28 of them. Can you believe it? In the last 12 years. But they are investing 50, then 100, then 100, then 250. I mean, some people have invested with me like close to $1 million business in several different syndications. Because if you're really having the right transparency, you're trustworthy, and you're keeping them abreast of everything that you're doing, they will come along with you and make you successful. And you make them successful by giving them the right returns and keeping everything accountable. What do I also do with the investors is once we purchase the property, I hold quarterly meetings with them. Other people do it too, but when we close on the property, we do every month meeting so that I can show them the closing statement. We'll talk about that and all of this stuff. We'll talk again. This is a very important part of the plate, which is plate number 2, having the right investors and making a great big list. Be sure to go to the RIA meetings, remember, like I mentioned, the business meetings, the Chamber of Commerce meetings, the Toastmasters, philanthropic organizations meetings, because that's where high net worth people are there. Now, do not forget to tell them, even if they don't have money, cash, they can also do the self-directed IRAs or 401ks to the retirement plan, where they can convert into with Pensco or ETC, Equity Trust, or IRA Services. There are lots of different custodians, companies we call them, where they could invest self-directed, and then they can come into the offering through the self-directed way in the retirement plan. So remember, you always want to have a great elevator pitch. We're going to talk about that again in a different chapter, in a different segment. But elevator pitch is so important to talk to everybody you meet. And investors are right under your nose, if I may say. They are right around you. They could be the dry cleaning shop owners. They could be your CPA. They could be your doctors or dentists. They could be your car care center owner. I mean, in my case, I couldn't believe it. My friend who I've been taking car to for oil change for $39.95, he bought the building cash for $3 million. If I had just looked at him, how he looked at everything, I never knew he had so much money saved up. So never judge anybody by the cover of the book. You got to open the book. You got to open really good investor. Everybody that you meet is a great investor. And by sitting down and talking to them about their dreams and aspirations and their the desires and the risk factors of if they would like to invest in stock market or other places, have they bought real estate properties, have had good returns, not so good returns. So all those questions really help you to determine if you want to go further with that investor or not. And in the first deal that you're going to do 506B as in boy, so you can get sophisticated investors, just like I was mentioning, who don't have $1 million net worth, but they would like to get together with you with 50,000 even, so you may like to do 50,000 or 100,000, as the minimum. Don't do 25. I would be the first one to say, if you stay small thinking, you will stay small. If you start thinking big, like we did, we just set a limit. I think 65,000 was our first property syndication that we did. And then after that, we went to 100 and we never looked back. And the result is in my $50 million fund, we have raised, like the first raise of 10 million, we have raised 7 million. And a lot of people are coming with 250,000, 250, 300,000, 500,000, and 700,000. Can you believe it? One investor coming with 700,000. So that's what is the scale. So please keep that in mind.